Welcome to the Private Practice Survival Guide podcast with your host, Brandon Seigel. I'm a published author, speaker, entrepreneur, and private practice strategist dedicated to transforming the way that healthcare functions. This podcast is all about empowering you to create the change you want to see. Let's dive in. Thank you for tuning in to the Private Practice Survival Guide podcast. In this quick tip episode, we're talking about, does a personality test translate to performance? So, does it? Let's dive right in. So the core question, can personality assessments predict job performance? So the great answer is yes, but with nuance. Certain personality traits have been shown to correlate with workplace success, especially when aligned with role demands and used alongside other evaluation methods. It does not guarantee success or performance, but it can allude to what you can expect from someone. And again, this idea of how do they naturally and behaviorally perform in a role. And so personality tests are measuring traits. And traits are essentially enduring patterns of behavior, thought, and emotion. So that could be extroversion, conscientious, etc. It also can show preferences, how individuals tend to communicate, make decisions, respond to stress. It can also drive the motivations of your candidate. So, what behavior, what engagement, what is motivating them? These factors influence how someone shows up at work, but they don't directly measure skill or knowledge. So, it's more about measuring their intrinsic behavioral adaptability and motivations than the way that they perform a task. That's why we do skills tests. So, what research says is conscientiousness from the Big Five model is the most consistent predictor of job performance across industries. I'm going to say that again. I think that's really important. Conscientiousness from the Big Five model is the most consistent predictor of job performance across industries. Emotional stability and agreeableness, that word agreeableness, are linked to better teamwork and customer service outcomes. Again, you have to define what you're looking for. I actually don't always like agreeableness. I want someone who's going to stand on their feet and push back a little. So that measure of agreeable, I don't need a yes, ma'am, yes, sir person. That's just me. But understanding the emotional stability and the agreeableness could impact better teamwork and customer service outcomes. Personality tests are most predictive when tailored to specific roles and combined with structured interviews and structured skills assessments. So, not all tests are created equal. I just want to make sure you know that. Tools must be validated, standardized, and interpreted responsibly. So, this idea that you're a Myers-Briggs group or you're the Big Five or whatever that is, I don't think that you're a one-way only group. I think you have to utilize different tests for different goals, for different roles. Got it? Good. So when personality tests start to add value, they're going to help you with hiring. We're going to be able to identify candidates whose traits align with role demands. What are the things you're looking for? I'm looking for assertiveness in my roles. I'm looking for the ability to take responsibility. I'm looking for a level of empathy. These are all things that we look at in our hiring process. Team building, it's going to improve communication. It's a way for us to reduce conflict by understanding interpersonal styles. It's also going to help us with leadership development. So we're going to be able to develop our staff. And I want to be clear, when I say leadership development, I want every person in your group to have leadership mindset and leadership function, meaning they lead others, they lead themselves, they lead clients. So it's going to strengthen blind spots for coaching and how people grow within your organization. And then retention, right off the bat, better fits often lead to better retention. The higher engagement, the lower turnover, all of that helps. And so these are different ways that you could get value from a personality test, but I want you to recognize the limitations. So there are limitations. It's not a crystal ball. Personality is one piece of the performance puzzle and not a standalone predictor. The risk of misuse. Over reliance or poor interpretation can lead to a bias or missed potential. Self-report bias. This is my biggest concern. Candidates may answer based on what they think you want to hear versus what's true. And so we really want them to also validate or invalidate what findings you get from it. And I think that's important. So when we're looking at trait performance and the correlation by role type, research shows that specific traits predict success differently depending on the role. So, with a front desk admin person, research shows that the high impact trait is conscientiousness. And that the performance link is if they are very conscious, they have fewer scheduling errors and higher patient satisfaction. With clinicians, the high impact trait is agreeableness plus EQ because it's better patient rapport and adherence to outcomes. With billing and finance, we need emotional stability so that there's a lower error rate under pressure. And with practice managers, research shows openness and assertiveness, stronger change leadership, and team engagement. So these are all different links to those traits. It's really important to build a trait to metric map. So create a matrix that links personality traits to KPIs in your practice. For example, empathy is measured through patient satisfaction scores. Conscientiousness is measured through documentation accuracy. Emotional stability is documented through retention in high stress roles. Openness is documented in innovation in a care delivery or workflow improvement. This helps you quantify the ROI of personality alignment. So there we got to look at certain statistics. And according to the US Office of Personnel Management, personality assessments can predict performance with a validity coefficient of 0.23 to 0.31, especially when combined with structured interviews. That's comparable to cognitive ability tests, but with less adverse impact on diverse candidates. They're showing that the results are there. And so when we're tailoring our onboarding based on personality profiles, we want to look at high introversion, provide quiet time for reflection and solo learning. High extroversion, assign early team based tasks. High openness, involve them in process improvement early. This boosts early engagement and speeds up time to productivity. Taking these into account will help them function greater in your practice. And so certain traits correlate with burnout vulnerability. So a high neuroticism, they're going to be more prone to emotional exhaustion. If they are neurotic, they may have more emotional exhaustion. Low agreeableness, more likely to experience interpersonal conflict. Low conscientiousness may struggle with workload management. Use this insight so that you can support at risk team members. And so, as we layer personality with performance reviews, I want you to incorporate personality insights into your quarterly reviews. Compare actual performance with predicted strengths and risks. Use discrepancies to guide coaching or role adjustments and reinforce alignment between who they are and what they do best. Did you know that 74% of small businesses using validated personality tests reported a 20% increase in employee performance potential compared to those not using assessments? That is from SHRM, the Society for Human Resource Management in 2024. So, in the words inspired by Jim Collins, personality tests light the path to peak performance. Unlocking your team's potential transforms your organizational success. I'm going to say that again. Personality tests light the path to peak performance. Unlocking your team's potential transforms your organization's success. Thank you so much for tuning into this quick tip episode of the Private Practice Survival Guide podcast. If you haven't liked us, subscribed, or written that 5-star review, please do so today. That would be a huge help. And don't forget to reach out, wellnessworksmp.com. Email me directly, Brandon at, if you want, because I want to help you because together we can thrive, not just survive. Thank you for tuning in to the Private Practice Survival Guide podcast. I'm incredibly grateful to each and every one of you. Exciting news. We're now available everywhere, from Spotify to Apple Podcasts to YouTube or anywhere you like to listen to your podcasts. So watch, listen, and reach out. If you love this episode, please drop a 5-star review. It truly means the world to me. Are you looking for more ways to elevate your practice? If so, now is your chance. Reach out, go to my website, or email me at brandon@wellnessworksmp.com. And remember, it's not just about surviving, it's about thriving.